Hi everyone, it's Aleem here. In this video, we're going to be learning about linear regression using Excel, and in particular, we're going to be paying attention to interaction variables. Case 10.2, called Housing Price Structure in Mid-City, is a perfect example of where we're going to use interaction to better understand the cost behavior of houses. Sales of single-family houses have been brisk in Mid-City this year. This has been especially true in older, more established neighborhoods where housing is relatively inexpensive compared to the new homes being built in the newer neighborhoods. Nevertheless, there are many families who are willing to pay a higher price for the prestige of living in one of the newer neighborhoods. The file Mid-City contains data on 128 recent sales in Mid-City. For each sale, the file shows the neighborhood, 1, 2, or 3, in which the house is located, the number of offers being made on the house, the square footage, whether the house is made primarily of brick, the number of bathrooms, the number of bedrooms, and the selling price. Neighborhoods 1 and 2 are more traditional, whereas neighborhood 3 is a newer, more prestigious neighborhood. Using regression to estimate and interpret the pricing structure. Use regression to estimate and interpret the pricing structure of houses in Mid-City. Here are some considerations. 1. Do buyers pay a premium for a brick house, all things being equal? 2. Is there a premium for a house in neighborhood 3, all things being equal? 3. Is there an extra premium for a brick house in neighborhood 3, in addition to the usual premium for a brick house? And 4. For the purposes of estimation and prediction, could neighborhoods 1 and 2 be collapsed into a single, older neighborhood? Okay, so here's the way our dataset looks in this example. We've got home, the neighborhood we're in, the number of offers, the square footage of the house, whether it's a brick house, the number of bedrooms, bathrooms, and then the price. For some of these things, we'll have to make dummy variables. For others, we'll have to make interaction variables. So let's get started. Bedrooms and bathrooms are both cardinal variables, so we won't have to make dummy variables for those. However, brick is a categorical variable. It will need a dummy variable. And let's call this brick equals yes. Equals if that is equal to yes, then 1, otherwise 0. Double click and drag that all the way down. The next thing we need to do is to make one for the neighborhood we're in. We'll use neighborhood 1 as a reference category. So there's neighborhood 2 and neighborhood 3 equals if B2 is equal to 2, then 1, otherwise 0. And this one we don't have to put in quotes because the 2 is a number. We're not looking for the number for the string 2, we're looking for the number 2. We can just say equals if B2 is equal to 2, then 1, otherwise 0. And then this one is equals if B2 is equal to 3, then 1, otherwise 0. Okay. So this gives me my 2 neighborhood dummy variables. We should make one now as well for brick neighborhood 2 and brick neighborhood 3. So these are my interactions. Here's brick neighborhood 2 and here's brick neighborhood 3. And we'll multiply brick by neighborhood 2. And we'll multiply brick by neighborhood 3. And fill those all the way down. Okay, so those are done. And now what we need to do is run our regressions. Okay, so for our first regression, here's what we're going to do. We've got brick equals yes, square footage, offers, neighborhood 2, neighborhood 3, bedrooms, and bathrooms. And let's see how those affect price. So data analysis, go to regression and say okay. Our Y range is price, our X range is going to be brick equals yes, square footage, offers, neighborhood 2, 3, bedrooms, bathrooms. And say OK. And we get this regression here. Now this isn't bad. Actually, if you look at it, our R squared is already 86.8%. So this is telling us that we can explain 87% of the change in price just looking at these variables over here. But we can do better. Notice here that we've got a p-value greater than 0.05 for our intercept and also for neighborhood 2. And a way we can look at that is to click on Home, choose Conditional Formatting, highlight cells greater than 0.05. And this very quickly will flag the things that are greater than 0.05 for us. Okay, so the next regression we can run will include our interaction variables as well. So we'll choose data, data analysis, regression, and now for our X range we're going to choose all of this. Here's what we get. We get our two interaction variables. We get brick equals yes, square footage, offers neighborhood 2 and 3, bedrooms and bathrooms. Once again, our R-squared has increased to 87.5%. And let's put our conditional formatting on once again. And we can see we've got two variables here that don't seem to add any explanatory power. It looks like neighborhood 2 is not making a difference to price. Okay, so let's make a copy of our data. And let's do this one more time. This time what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of neighborhood 2. So what we're left with is brick neighborhood 3, brick equals yes, square footage offers neighborhood 3, bedrooms and bathrooms. And once again, let's go to data, data analysis and regression. Our Y range is price, and our X range in this case is everything except for the stuff dealing with neighborhood 2. And when we say okay this time, here's what we get. Once again, we still get a fairly high R-squared, 87.5%, but I want you to notice now all of our p-values are less than 0.05. We still get a fairly strong R-squared, our standard error is fairly low, and here's how we can then interpret this regression analysis. First of all, it says that regardless of neighborhood, there's a $13,665 premium, that's this one over here, for having a brick house. Now whether the house is brick or not, there's a $17,710 premium for having a house in neighborhood 3, and finally, on top of that, there is another $10,362 premium for having a brick house in neighborhood 3. So the fact that you've got a brick house adds value to the home, but even more than that, if you've got a brick house in neighborhood 3, that's extra rare, and that's going to add an even bigger premium to this.